I can't make myself do that. Hey everybody, welcome to Adam Makes Beer. My name is Adam, and today we are going to work on blending up a barrel-aged beer for our 2nd anniversary. I'm going to do a little tasting on these, blend these up to the ratio that I want for this beer. We're going to be pushing this into a small 7-barrel fermenter on top of 44 pounds of coconut, basically smoothie from Cholaka. We're going to age it on that a little bit, get it back into kegs, and then put it into some beautiful bottles. Beer. So this is how we're handling this barrel-aged beer blend that we're doing. What we had was we had all these awesome 15-gallon barrels from Garrison Brothers out of Texas. They were fantastic. First of all, beautiful barrels, really well constructed. They look more like wine barrels than typical bourbon barrels. And I filled those with a range of different beers. I filled them with Excalibur, a big-bodied, sweeter imperial stout that we did, and then also a Baltic porter that we did called Ballistic. Ballistic was a little bit leaner, and those two beers blend together really well. On top of it, there was a ton of bourbon character that came out of these barrels. When you open them up, you could look in and you can kind of see like a football's worth shape on the bottom of bourbon that had come out of these barrels. It really only took about 8-9 weeks to be in those barrels. And then I didn't have anything to do space-wise, timing-wise with those beers. So what I did was I ran them back into kegs. And what that lets me do is that lets me put those beers aside until I am ready to start blending. That blending today is going to be taking place in this little shorty 7-barrel tank. Right now this tank is sanitized. I'm purging it, and it is also full of the 44 pounds of coconut from Cholaka that we are going to be aging this barrel-aged beer on. How I chose to use coconut for this is you kind of taste the base beers and the barrel character and see maybe what you could amplify to take the beer over the top. In my mind, I thought coconut would be a really good accompaniment for this. These beers that I'm blending are a little bit more even bourbon forward than some other things that we did. I think this Motto series that we've been doing, they're relatively well balanced barrel-aged beers. But I think this one's going to be a little bit more aggressive on the spirit side, but then also definitely on the coconut side, because we are putting essentially 11 pounds per barrel of this real pasteurized coconut product from Cholaka into this beer. So what we have going on is this whole tank is built out as normal. I do have a carb stone built in here, and I did that because I do want to carbonate this beer in the tank, but this tank is not going to be filled all the way up with beer, so I needed a lower point to get gas into the beer in order to carbonate it. The beer will be above the sample ports on this tank, so I will be able to take a Zamenhof reading with it to see what my carbonation level is. And then because I do have the carb stone in where the racking arm usually goes, I am going to have to slowly bleed down the coconut off the bottom of this tank before I keg it out. I have the time, I have about a month to get this all done, so I'll be able to be careful with that. And then we'll move those beers back into keg, carbonated, and then we'll beer gun these beers into bottles, wax tops, stuff like that. And actually, why don't I show you that next? Wow. All right, hey everybody, we are now to the tasting. This is such a fun beer to put together, combining those barrels from Garrison Brothers, blending up those two different beers, Excalibur, the big, sweet, rich imperial stout aged on coffee, and then Ballistic, a pretty traditional Baltic porter, a big, strong Baltic porter. Putting all those components together and then layering in over the top with the coconut was really a lot of fun to work with. We couldn't be more pleased with how the beer came out. I feel like we got some real deep, rich coconut notes out of this, and I think you can really only get that with real coconut. The beer does come out relatively dessert-like, but I wouldn't say overly sweet, like cloyingly sweet. This is still a relatively drinkable version of this style, even though the beer style itself is intrinsically pretty aggressive. It does have those really nice dark chocolate, coconut, kind of like candy bar vibes to it. It has some really nice underlying vanilla and kind of creme brulee things. It's really a fun beer. We're really pleased with how it came out. The bottles look great. Just a really cool project here for our 2nd anniversary. Just a quick reminder on the process side, these beers were in those smaller 15-gallon Garrison Brothers barrels. If you want to be working with a smaller barrel like that at home, please keep in mind that you're gonna have a lower residency time than you are in the great big barrels. Anyways, hope you got some value out of this episode. If you did, please give a like, a share, a follow, all those things. Let other people know that are really into craft beer and or brewing about our channel. We appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye.